Chapter 45:33. The power is too scattered. It's indeed much weaker. Lu Ming frowned when he saw that the four divine masters were still alive. He wasn't satisfied with the power of the Eldritch Barren Land style. He had made the Eldritch Barren Land extremely large with the purpose of covering the hundreds of masters of the three races and ensuring that no one could escape. The larger the area, the less powerful it was. Although it was more than enough to kill beings below the God Emperor realm, it wasn't enough to kill divine masters. Several divine masters joined forces to resist, but they were only injured and didn't die. But this is enough. Lu Ming made a grabbing motion in the air, condensing a long spear. He took a step forward, charging towards Yilu Chuan at lightning speed. The long spear pressed down like a mountain, covering the sky and enveloping Yilu Chuan. Yilu Chuan was severely injured and couldn't escape at all. That cold and terrifying murderous aura made Yilu Chuan's heart turn cold. No, don't kill me. I'm a member of the heavenly human race. If you kill me, the heavenly human race won't let you go. Yilu Chuan shouted in fear. Yes, he was from the angel race. His surname wasn't originally this, but he was loyal to the heavenly human race and had made great contributions, so the heavenly human race gave him the surname. This was an extremely honorable thing for all the races in the universe. Being given a surname by the heavenly human race meant that he was half a member of the heavenly human race. He would be respected by all the races in the universe. In fact, this was also a way for the heavenly human race to win people over. The heavenly human race would give surnames to those who had made great contributions and were loyal to the heavenly human race. This was also a way to control the other races. However, Yilu Chuan was desperate. He used the heavenly human race to threaten Lu Ming. Didn't he know that the forbidden body was the enemy of the heavenly human race? If he used the heavenly human race to threaten Lu Ming, he would die even if he didn't. Ridiculous, Lu Ming said coldly. He didn't stop attacking. The long spear pressed down at an even faster speed and finally hit Yilu Chuan's body. Yilu Chuan let out an unwilling scream. Then his body exploded and his soul was destroyed. A second-level divine master was killed just like that. You want to leave? Then, Lu Ming's gaze swept over the surroundings, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. This was because the other four divine masters had already fled in all directions. They fled in 4 different directions at an extremely fast speed. Teibai was the blood race expert at the second level of the divine master realm. With a flap of his wings, he tore open the starry sky and traveled through the void. In a flash, he was already 1,000,000 miles away. However, how could Lu Ming let them escape? The war god's spear appeared in his hand and taboo energy gushed into it. Whoosh! The war god's spear charged toward the second-level divine master of the blood race. Too fast. The war god's spear was fast to the extreme. It rushed into the dark void and disappeared. But a moment later, a scream came from the distant starry sky, and then a massive figure appeared. It was the blood race second-layer divine lord. However, at that moment, that person's head had already exploded. There was no sound at all. Evidently, he was already dead. At the same time that Lu Ming threw out the war god's spear, Lu Ming used the greater teleportation technique and appeared in front of the Wu people's Wu Si. The 3 first-level divine masters had been severely injured by the Desolate Era's attack, so their speed was greatly affected. Lu Ming caught up with them easily. Lu Ming! Wu Si was shocked and quickly retreated, his heart filled with fear. Back then, he had pursued Lu Ming all the way to the dragon race's mother planet. Back then, the ant that was not worth mentioning in his eyes had now grown to such a level and could easily kill him. Lu Ming didn't waste any time. The moment he appeared, he threw out a punch. Wu Si roared, his voice stern. He used all his strength to resist, but it was useless. The difference in strength between him and Lu Ming was too great. Moreover, he was injured. With a bang, Wu Si's body exploded. Humph! The substitution technique is useless in front of me, Lu Ming said coldly. He bent his fingers into a claw and grabbed at the void. The void collapsed and a scream could be heard. Lu Ming grabbed a figure out of the void. It was Wu Si. It turned out that Wu Si had used the Wu people's substitution technique. Lu Ming had only killed Wu Xi's substitution puppet with one punch. His original body had already escaped into the void and wanted to take the opportunity to escape. However, none of his actions could escape Lu Ming's eyes. He grabbed Wu Xi and pulled him out. "No, don't kill me," Wu Xi shouted in fear. However, Lu Ming's eyes were cold and he didn't want to waste time talking to him. He clenched his hand and a violent energy surged into Wu Xi's body. Wu Xi's body exploded and his soul was destroyed. As soon as Wu Xi died, the war god's spear flew back to Lu Ming's hand and was caught by Lu Ming. Swish! Lu Ming swung the war god's spear again, and it flew toward the other first-level divine lord of the blood race. As for himself, he used the greater teleportation technique and charged toward the first-level divine lord of the angel race. The slight delay in killing Wu Xi had allowed the two first-level divine lords to escape far away. However, Lu Ming was confident that the war god's spear was enough to kill the first-level divine lord of the blood race. After Lu Ming had infused the war god's spear with forbidden energy, it had become extremely powerful. Moreover, the war god's spear was a top-grade origin-grade divine weapon and possessed a powerful spirituality. It was more than enough to kill an injured first-level divine lord of the blood race. Swish! 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 Lu Ming hurriedly chased after the angel. The distance between the two of them was constantly closing. Too terrifying. Lu Ming is too terrifying. I must spread the news to the angel race, to the celestial race. The first-level divine lord of the angel race fled while using the illusory divine jade to spread the news. Heaven sundering style. Kill? Lu Ming coldly roared as he transformed into a spear. At the same time, he erupted with origin energy. Originally, Lu Ming didn't need to use origin energy to deal with trash like this, but in order to kill this person as quickly as possible, he had no choice. Lu Ming couldn't allow the angel race to spread the news. Although he would take his family and friends with him, including those he was close with, he would take them with him. However, there were still some people who would stay behind. For example, the Lu family, Jingma, Kong Shishue, and the others would stay behind. If the celestial race found out about this, they would definitely unleash their wrath and turn the Taishu dynasty into a purgatory. From the fate of the elf race, one could see that the celestial race would never show mercy to other races. The heaven-sundering style had the advantage of the greater extreme light art. His speed instantly increased, and he shot forward like an aurora, instantly catching up to the first-level divine lord of the angel race. Before the angel race could use the illusory divine jade to spread the news, Lu Ming's spear pierced through his body, and the terrifying energy reduced his body to ashes. With a wave of his hand, he put away the angel race's storage ring. Lu Ming took a step forward and returned to the Great Void Sacred Capital, where Blue Merchant and the others were waiting. Chapter 45-34. As soon as Lu Ming returned to Blue Merchant and the others, the battle god's spear flew back with a storage ring. Apparently, the battle god's spear had killed the Blood Tribe's divine master. With a thought, the battle god's spear turned into a ray of light and flew into Lu Ming's glabella, disappearing from sight. At this moment, Jingma, Kong Shishue, Blue Merchant, Undying Demon King, Thousand Holy Heavenly King, Etion, and the others were completely dumbfounded. They stood there as if they had been petrified. Their eyes were fixed on Lu Ming. They thought they were dreaming. But this dream was too real, wasn't it? That terrifying aura, the aura that made the galaxy tremble, the aura that terrified them, it was too real. How could it be fake? How could it be a dream? Even if they were dreaming, they wouldn't dream of such a scene. That kind of power was beyond the limits of their imagination. But Lu Ming was too crazy, wasn't he? How could Lu Ming be so powerful? Monster and freak weren't enough to describe Lu Ming. Blue Merchant, Thousand Holy Heavenly King, are you ready? Let's go now. Lu Ming reminded them. Okay. Blue Merchant and the others finally snapped out of their daze. Lu. No. Hidden Dragon Heavenly King. I wonder if we can send more people to go with you? Kong Shishue said, looking nervously at Lu Ming. She seemed very reserved. Before she knew about Lu Ming's true combat strength, she could still get along with Lu Ming as an equal. After all, she was the mother of the new Great Void Saint Emperor, and Lu Ming was just a heavenly king. But now, when he faced Lu Ming, he could no longer maintain his composure. There was only fear and trepidation. She knew very well that given her status, she was nothing in front of Lu Ming. In the primitive universe, everything was based on the truth. With strength came status. With Lu Ming's cultivation and strength, it would be easy for him to create a force thousands of times stronger than the Taishu dynasty. Therefore, she was trembling with fear in front of Lu Ming. She was afraid that she would say something wrong and make Lu Ming unhappy. After saying that, she looked at Lu Ming nervously. Sure, as soon as possible, Lu Ming said. He wanted to return to the Heaven Destroyer's base as soon as possible. After all, when he first came out, he had sealed Xian Yinqing and Autumn Moon. Now, Xian Yinqing and Autumn Moon should have been unsealed long ago. What would they do after they were unsealed? Would the water directly rush into the elven territory? It was very dangerous there. Lu Ming couldn't help but worry. And here, it was too far away from the base of the universe ruins. The voice-transmitting jade talisman couldn't reach that far. Lu Ming couldn't even inquire about the news. Okay, let's do it as soon as possible. Kong Shishue nodded repeatedly and immediately left with Jingma. In fact, after seeing Lu Ming's strength, even they themselves wanted to leave with Lu Ming. But after thinking about it, they still couldn't bear to leave the foundation here. In the end, they decided to send more people to cultivate with Lu Ming. Well, Lu Ming. No, Senior, I was wrong before. I was blind and offended you. Please forgive me. You are a great man and don't hold grudges against me. Haha, Immortal Demon also came over. He actually admitted that he was a junior and put his posture very low in front of Lu Ming. In the universe, strength was the most important thing. In terms of strength, it wasn't wrong for him to call Lu Ming a senior. Of course, this also needed to be thick-skinned. Those who weren't thick-skinned really couldn't say it out loud. It's okay, but you'd better not think too much in the future. Let me tell you, I won't treat you badly if you follow me. Lu Ming said lightly. Don't worry, young Master Ming. In the future, I will follow your lead and be at your beck and call. Immortal Demon swore. Lu Ming muttered in his heart. Why didn't he realize that this old guy was so thick-skinned before? This, Blue Merchant and Heavenly King Qian Sheng hesitated on the side. After seeing Lu Ming's true strength, they also became a little cautious in front of Lu Ming. They were all smart people. After seeing Lu Ming's strength, they could guess that Lu Ming was probably the strongest existence in the universe. The gap between them was too big. Lan Shu, Heavenly King Qian Sheng, you have been very kind to me. You don't have to be so cautious. I am still the same person as before. Lu Ming said. Hearing Lu Ming's words, Blue Merchant and Heavenly King Qian Sheng heaved a sigh of relief. Otherwise, they wouldn't know how to face Lu Ming in the future. Immortal Demon was envious. If he had known that Lu Ming was so incredible, he would have clung to Lu Ming's leg when he saw Lu Ming back then. It's not too late now. I will definitely rely on this leg. I will break through to a higher level, the first Divine Emperor layer, the second Divine Emperor layer, and even the Divine Emperor layer. The undying Demon King roared in his heart and warned himself. Given that he had lived for dozens of stellar years, he would not be so agitated. However, Lu Ming was simply too powerful. He was unbelievably powerful. He was so powerful that he found it difficult to remain calm. They didn't have to wait for too long. Jingma and Kong Shishue's people were ready. Let's go in. Lu Ming waved his hand and opened the ancient desolation ring. A huge vortex appeared in the heavenly palace. Blue Merchant, Heavenly King Qian Sheng, and the others flew into the vortex. Needless to say, they were astonished when they entered the ancient desolation ring, but Lu Ming didn't care. Very quickly, everyone entered the ancient desolation ring. Everyone, see you later. Lu Ming cupped his fists to Kong Shishue and Jingma. Then, he turned around and stepped out. The starry sky cracked automatically. He entered the space crack and disappeared. Only Jingma and Kong Shishue were left behind. They were in a daze. Lu Ming hurried on with all his strength. At the same time, he used the great imitation technique to change his appearance and life origin chi. He turned into a young man from the Angel clan. If he hurried on with his original appearance, he would most likely alarm the people of the Heavenly Palace. After all, he still had to use the wormhole to hurry on. Even though his current speed was very fast, it was still not as fast as using the wormhole. In this way, Lu Ming spent about half a month to return to the Heaven Destroyer's base in the ruins of the universe. After returning to the Heaven Destroyer's base, he immediately rushed to their residence. At their residence, Lu Ming didn't see Xian Yinqing and Autumn Moon. He only saw Wan Shun, Dandan, and Bubbles. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that Xian Yinqing and Autumn Moon really went to find him? Wan Shun, Dandan, Bubbles, Shaoqing, and Autumn Moon. Where did you go? Lu Ming quickly asked. They're fine. Lu Ming, it's great that you're fine. There are rumors in the Heavenly Palace that you're dead. Wan Shun said. That's right. So the people of the Heavenly Palace were bullshitting. I knew it. How could Lu Ming be dead? Do you think it's that easy to follow me? Dandan shouted. As for Bubbles, she hung on Lu Ming's body. Chapter 45-35. Big Brother Lu Ming, I'm so glad that you're fine. Bubbles hung onto Lu Ming's body, wiping her snot and tears on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming was stunned. Could it be that the Heavenly Palace announced to the public that he had already fallen? That was also possible. After all, when the ancestral land of the elves was destroyed, he rushed into the space crack. There was a high possibility that he would be turned into ashes under the destructive power of the crack. However, it might not be deliberately spread by the Heavenly Palace. After all, there were many people in the Heavenly Palace who saw him rushing into the crack. It was possible that some people made wild guesses and spread it. Of course I'll be fine. By the way, where are Shaoqing and Autumn Moon? Lu Ming asked again. Back then, you sealed Miss Xie and Miss Autumn Moon and left alone. After the seal was removed, they were very angry and wanted to go to the elves to find you. We couldn't stop them. Fortunately, Senior Fei Huang came back at that time and stopped them. During this time, Miss Xie and Miss Autumn Moon have been at Senior Fei Huang's residence. Pantheon said, Then I'll go see them now. Lu Ming said, Lu Ming, you have to be mentally prepared. I heard that they are still very angry. Dandan said, By the way, about the news of my death, do they know? Lu Ming asked. They don't know. We didn't dare to tell them. Dandan said, That's good. I have a way to deal with them. Let's go. Lu Ming smiled. Soon, they arrived at Fei Huang's residence and saw Xian Yinqing and Autumn Moon. Lu Ming, young master. When they saw Lu Ming, Xian Yinqing and Autumn Moon were surprised. However, they soon thought of something, and their faces darkened. Haha, Shaoqing, Mid-Autumn Moon, I'm back. I haven't seen you for a while. I really missed you. Lu Ming said shamelessly. You want to kill us? Lu Ming, in order to save your little fairy lover, you even sacrificed your own life and sealed us. Good, very good. Xian Yinqing sneered, his face cold. As for Autumn Moon, she pouted and looked at Lu Ming with hatred. Autumn Moon has been led astray by Shaoqing. Lu Ming muttered in his heart. Even the gentle and lovely Autumn Moon treated him like this. Lu Ming was very sad. Of course, this also proved that Autumn Moon was really angry. Haha, little Qing, what are you saying? After all, the elf race is implicated by me. I can't just ignore it. Lu Ming laughed, trying to bluff his way out. Don't try to bluff your way out. Today, you have to give us an explanation. That's right. Young master, you have to give us an explanation. I didn't expect that you would attack us. Autumn Moon is really sad. The two girls didn't give in and pressed on. Wan Shun, Dandan, and Bubbles looked down and pretended not to see anything. Especially Dandan, who smiled from time to time. She looked like she was waiting to see how he would deal with it. Lu Ming, tell me, how do you want an explanation? Xian Yinqing stepped forward. Shaoqing, Autumn Moon, look who I brought. Lu Ming finally used his trump card. That was the diversion of attention. He waved his hand, and a few people appeared in front of Lu Ming. Lu Yuntian, Li Ping, Lu Shenhuang, Lu Qi, and the others. Master, madam. Seeing Lu Yuntian and Li Ping, Autumn Moon was pleasantly surprised. Autumn Moon, my child, I finally meet you. Li Ping teared up when she saw Autumn Moon. Madam, Chiu Yu dashed into Li Ping's arms, tears streaming down her face. She had long forgotten about Lu Ming. Meanwhile, Xian Yanqing's attention was completely attracted by Lu Shunhuang and the others. Shunhuang. Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Shunhuang. Her eyes filled with longing and love. Mom. Lu Shunhuang hurried over. Mom. Lu Shunhuang's wife also went over and called out, Grandma, long time no see. I miss you so much. Lu Qi dashed over and grabbed Xian Yanqing's arm, refusing to let go. Cheer, I haven't seen you for a while. Your cultivation has almost caught up to your father. Xian Yanqing's cold face had already melted into a smile. He patted Lu Qi's head affectionately. As for Lu Ming's matter, he had already put it aside. Wan Shun, Dandan, and Bubbles were dumbfounded. How did this work? Lu Ming, you're awesome. Wan Shun gave him a thumbs up. Lu Ming, you're despicable and shameless. Bah, you're smart and powerful. You already have some of my style. Dandan whispered to Lu Ming. The reunion of family was joyous, and there seemed to be endless topics to talk about. Xian Yanqing and Autumn Moon temporarily forgot about Lu Ming. The unhappiness in their hearts also disappeared. After quite a while, Xian Yanqing and Autumn Moon finally remembered Lu Ming. They both glared at him and let it pass. Half a day later, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Qiu Yu, Dandan, Bubbles, and the rest led Lu Yuntian and Li Ping to an open space. There were no living beings living in this place. The conditions for cultivation were also excellent. Heaven Destroyer's base was made up of continents. The foundation of these continents was actually the primeval continent. After being modified by reciprocity experts, the cultivation environment here was extremely good. There were also various places for training. Even if it couldn't compare to the primeval ring, it wasn't bad either. It was 100 times better than the Taishu dynasty. Lu Ming planned to put the people of the Taishu dynasty, the Lu family, Hua Qi, and the others here. He didn't plan to let them stay in the primeval ring forever. Although the cultivation environment in the primeval ring was definitely the best for those below the Divine Lord realm, it was much better than here. However, Lu Ming would always carry the primeval ring with him. He would go out adventuring and traveling. Moreover, the heavenly human race would always be watching him. He might run into danger at any time. What if he was captured by the heavenly human race like last time? His family and friends would be in great danger if they followed him. Only when his cultivation was high enough, and he no longer feared any danger, would he put his family and friends in the primeval ring. He naturally wouldn't give a treasure like the primeval ring to others. He had to carry it with him at all times. Of course, this was also because his past and future selves weren't present. If they were, one of them could carry the primeval ring and stay in the Heaven Destroyer's base. That wouldn't be bad. But now, this was all he could do. With a wave of his hand, a huge vortex appeared in the air. Lu Ming's consciousness appeared in the primeval ring and communicated with everyone. After a while, a large number of people flew out. They were the Undying Demon King, Blue Merchant, Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King, and the people of the Lu family. After they came out, they were reluctant to leave. Cultivating in the primeval ring was just too good. In such a short time, some of them even broke through. However, Lu Ming had explained it before, so they could only come out. Moreover, the cultivation conditions here weren't bad either. Immediately, everyone began to make arrangements in an orderly manner. Peak. Chapter 45-36. After seeing that the Taishu dynasty, the Lu family, Hua Qi, and the others had arranged everything in an orderly manner, Lu Ming left the place alone and went to ask Fei Huang for a treasure. Then, he came to another place with no one around. The Heaven Destroyer's base was made up of dozens of continents. Moreover, the area of each continent was extremely large. Some large continents were far larger than those planets with life. They could accommodate countless living beings. Moreover, there was more than one Heaven Destroyer's base. It was said that there were several other bases of Heaven Destroyer in the depths of the universe ruins. It was just that Lu Ming had never been there before. Therefore, the Heaven Destroyer's base could be considered vast and sparsely populated. It was simply too easy to accommodate the creatures that Lu Ming had brought with him. Moreover, there was a reason why Lu Ming chose this place. This was because Fei Huang and the other experts had gone to rescue the elves and rescued a portion of them. Those elves lived in this area. Lu Ming stood in the sky and looked into the distance. He could see a dense forest in front of him. There were some wooden houses built in the forest, and from time to time, figures would flash by. With Lu Ming's eyesight, he could naturally see clearly that those were all elves. Of course, this forest couldn't be compared to the elf palace. The difference was too great. The elf palace had countless incomparably huge elven ancient trees. Those ancient trees were thousands or even tens of thousands of miles tall. They covered the sky and produced endless wood essence. They would also produce a large number of elven wood hearts, which were very helpful to the cultivation of the elves. However, the forest in front of him was just an ordinary tree. It was worlds apart from the elven ancient trees. After Lu Ming communicated with Ling Yue with his spiritual sense, he opened the door of the great desolate ring and a huge vortex appeared in the air. Ling Yue was the first to fly out. Soon after, the other elves also flew out. There weren't many of them. Some of them were the people that had been saved on that island, while the others were the elven geniuses in the elven ancestral land. When these elves came out and saw Lu Ming, they all glared at him angrily. Lu Ming was expressionless and pretended not to see it. Yue, our clansmen live in the forest ahead. In the future, we shall live in this region. Lu Ming said. Yes. Ling Yue nodded. At this moment, the other elves also discovered the forest and immediately revealed expressions of joy. Now, the elf race was almost completely annihilated. They originally thought that they might be the only ones who survived. Now that they saw other elves, they were naturally ecstatic. They immediately flew towards the forest. When they approached the forest, they were immediately discovered by the elves in the forest. The elves in the forest immediately flew out. Immediately, numerous figures appeared in the sky above the forest. About 50 million people. Lu Ming thought. His spirit sense swept out and enveloped the entire forest, roughly estimating the number of elves living in the forest. 50 million people might seem like a lot, but it was actually very little. One had to know that in the past, the elf race had occupied a large number of star regions. The elf race had thrived for countless years, giving birth to countless members of their race. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to describe it as trillions. 50 million people, compared to the past, was really a drop in the ocean. Moreover, many of these 50 million elves had ordinary knowledge. Their cultivation was very low, and they couldn't even fly in the air. Only about 1 million could fly in the sky above the forest. Compared to the previous base of the elf race, it was really too little. Moreover, Lu Ming didn't find a single divine master. The strongest was only at the 9th level of the divine god realm. It seemed that the divine master of the elf race was targeted by the heavenly palace at the first moment and sent experts to hunt them down. Therefore, none of them escaped. When Fei Huang and the others received the news and rushed over, it was already too late. The experts of the elf race were either killed or captured. Not only were the elites killed, but even the ordinary elves were also killed. As for the rest, most of them were captured by the heavenly palace's slaves. Therefore, even with Fei Huang and the others' abilities, they could only bring out 50 million elves. Princess, it's the princess. The princess is fine. That's great, that's great. The heavens have blessed us. In the sky above the forest, the elves were overjoyed when they saw Ling Yue. They quickly flew over and bowed to Ling Yue. Everyone, there's no need to be so polite. There's no need to be so polite. Ling Yue hurriedly said, Princess, I heard that the elf ancestral land was surrounded, and a great battle broke out behind it. The elf ancestral land collapsed. How did we escape? Someone asked. We've heard about the elf ancestral land. What happened after the great battle in the elf ancestral land? Ling Yue was not in a hurry to answer. I heard that the evil spirit lord of the ancestral land has appeared and fought with the people of the heavenly palace. The battle destroyed the heavens and the earth, and even the ancestral land was destroyed. Later on, more experts from the heavenly palace came, and I heard that they suppressed the evil spirit lord. This person used to be an elder of the elf race and had a cultivation of the 9th level of the divine lord realm. Before Ling Yue came, he had the highest status in the elf race. The reason why we were able to escape was all thanks to Lu Ming risking his life to save us. At this time, Ling Yue pointed at Lu Ming and said, "What? Lu Ming? It's him. It's Lu Ming. It's all his fault. It's all because of him that the heavenly palace attacked us elves. It's all his fault." Many of the elves roared as they stared at Lu Ming hatefully. Everyone. Back then, Lu Ming changed his name to Mu Yun unintentionally. He also felt very guilty, and if he hadn't risked his life to save us, we would have died at the hands of the elves. Ling Yue hurriedly explained. The knot in her heart towards Lu Ming had already been untied. Her heart was naturally on Lu Ming's side, and she wanted to resolve the grudge between Lu Ming and the elves. "Princess, don't be fooled by him. That's right. If it wasn't for him, how could our clan be like this? How could His Majesty have died in battle?" The elves naturally wouldn't forgive Lu Ming so easily. They were still glaring at Lu Ming. Sigh. Ling Yue sighed in her heart. Then, with a thought, a jade bottle appeared in her hand. Opening the jade bottle, an incomparably exuberant life essence spread out, attracting the attention of every elf. All the elves looked at the jade bottle, revealing looks of doubt and shock. "This aura, why does it look so much like the holy tree seed? Really, I feel like it too." However, that holy tree seed was successfully nurtured by us and turned into the elven holy tree. Later on, it was cut off by the celestial race. How could another holy tree seed appear here? A few Divine Lord Realm elves discussed animatedly. They were all in the Divine Lord Realm and could be considered the upper echelons of the elf clan. Naturally, they knew a lot of things. The holy tree seed that Lu Ming had brought out had been successfully nurtured and turned into the elven holy tree. Although it hadn't grown into a big tree yet, it was only a matter of time. However, when the heavenly palace attacked, it was cut off. Chapter 45-37. The elves were all puzzled because the aura emitted by the jade bottle in Ling Yue's hand was too similar to the holy tree seed. At this time, Ling Yue picked up the jade bottle. With the lid down, a seed flew out. It was the holy tree seed. The holy tree seed emitted a hazy radiance, and an incomparably dense life energy was emitted, enveloping all the elves. Bathed in the dense life energy, all the elves felt their pores open, and they felt incomparably comfortable. The holy tree seed. It really is the holy tree seed. The princess actually has a holy tree seed in her hands. It's truly a blessing from the heavens. The heavens have not destroyed our elf clan. Even if the heavenly palace wanted to destroy us, they would not be able to do so. That's right. With the new holy tree seed and the princess talent, our elf clan will definitely rise again and be stronger than before. All the elves were overjoyed. Many of them couldn't hold it in and started to roar. The holy tree seed could nurture the elven holy tree. The elven holy tree was too important to the elves. Within the range of the elven holy tree, it could turn ordinary trees into elven ancient trees and give birth to elvenwood hearts. Furthermore, when the elves cultivated on the elven holy tree, not only would their cultivation speed be astonishing, they would also be able to continuously improve their talent and purify their bloodline, allowing the elves' talent to become stronger and stronger. One had to know that at the peak of the elf clan's history, they were close to the top 10 races. That was because of the elven holy tree. Later on, when the elf clan was in chaos and the elven holy tree was cut down, the strength of the elf clan plummeted and continued to decline until it reached the 33rd rank of the great desolate 10,000 races. From this, it could be seen how important the elven holy tree was. In addition, they also had the elf princess Ling Yue. In the battle of the supreme immortal city, Ling Yue had revealed her terrifying talent. She was actually able to compete with the heavenly daughter of the celestial clan, reaching a shocking 11 stars of battle strength. This kind of talent could be said to be the best in the elf clan. In the history of the elf clan, there had never been such an astonishing genius. In time, the elf princess Ling Yue would definitely become a peak expert in the universe, and her cultivation would even surpass the ancestors of the elf clan. With these two blessings, it was not impossible for the elf clan to reach their peak in the future, or even further. Many elves' eyes that were filled up with despair, long, and Ling Yue that was, Long Yue, long. In a short period of time, they had seen Ling Yue and the elven tree seed. This was a great surprise for them. Everyone, this is indeed the seed of the holy tree. Furthermore, this seed was given to us by Lu Ming. Ling Yue said loudly. Everyone fell silent and looked at Lu Ming in disbelief. Princess, did Lu Ming give us this seed of the holy tree as well? Really? Don't speak up for him. The old elders said. They were all veterans of the martial arts world. So how could they not see that Ling Yue was siding with Lu Ming? It's absolutely true. Think about it. Where would I get the holy tree seed from? If I had it, I would have handed it over long ago. Actually, during the holy seed assessment, Lu Ming obtained a total of 2 holy tree seeds. He gave one to the elf tribe and kept the other for himself. Now, the holy fairy tree that we nurtured has already been destroyed by the heavenly human tribe, so he has given us the second seed of the holy fairy tree from his collection in order to help the fairy tribe develop, Ling Yue said. So that's how it is. The hearts of the elves stirred as they felt that it was very possible. Just as Ling Yue had said, if she had the seed of the holy tree, she would have taken it out to cultivate it long ago. After all, the holy tree seed would only be of great use if it was nurtured into a holy tree. A single holy tree seed was useless. And since Lu Ming was able to obtain 1 holy tree seed back then, it was not impossible for him to obtain 2. The elves fell silent. The holy tree seed was something that they desperately desired, but it was still impossible for them to let go of their grudges and forgive Lu Ming. Yue, then let's nurture the holy tree seed into a holy fairy tree now. At this moment, Lu Ming, who had been silent all this time, suddenly opened his mouth. What? Now? Ling Yue was stunned. She was tongue-tied as she looked at Lu Ming. What did Lu Ming say just now? He was going to nurture the holy tree seed into a holy fairy tree now? How is this possible? It wasn't that easy to nurture the holy tree seed into a holy fairy tree. It was extremely difficult, and the process was extremely complicated. One had to gather a large amount of suitable heavenly materials and earthly treasures, and expend a large amount of resources and energy in order to successfully nurture it. And now, there were only these people left in the elf clan. They didn't have any treasures to nurture the holy tree seed. They didn't do any preparatory work, so how could they nurture the holy tree? It turned out that Lu Ming didn't know how difficult it was to nurture the holy tree. A holy tree was nurtured the same as an ordinary tree? The other elves were also somewhat dumbfounded. Some of them even revealed mocking expressions. Of course it's now. Let's go. With that, Lu Ming pulled Ling Yue's small hand and flew towards the sky above the forest. Very quickly, they arrived at the center of the forest and landed on an empty space below. Many of the elves also flew over to watch. They wanted to see how Lu Ming would nurture the holy tree of the elves. In their opinion, this was simply impossible. He didn't do any preparatory work, nor did he have any heavenly materials or earthly treasures to nurture the holy tree of the elves. Yue, give me the holy tree seed, Lu Ming said. Ling Yue nodded her head in a daze and handed the holy tree seed to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took the holy tree seed and placed it on the ground. Following that, a jade bottle appeared in Lu Ming's hand. He opened the jade bottle and poured a green liquid onto the holy tree seed. Wong. Suddenly, the holy tree seed seemed to tremble for a moment, as if it had produced a powerful suction force that absorbed the green liquid into the seed. Lu Ming continued to pour it out as the holy tree seed continued to absorb it. Very quickly, the jade bottle was empty and all the green liquid was absorbed by the holy tree seed. At this moment, the holy tree seed trembled again and then emitted a dazzling light. Waves of unimaginably dense life essence continuously spread out. Enveloped by this life essence, the other trees in the forest began to grow crazily. The ancient trees that were originally only a few hundred meters tall grew crazily, becoming 1,000 meters tall, a few thousand meters tall, 10,000 meters tall. The diameter of the trees was also crazily increasing. It's revived. The holy tree seed has revived. Some of the elves cried out loudly. At the scene, all the elves were stunned. The holy tree seed had actually revived. How is this possible? Especially the few divine Lord Realm elves. They were even more shocked. They clearly remembered how much effort and price the elves had paid to revive the holy tree seed last time. And now, it was revived just like that? Chapter 45:38. The people of the elf clan were all stunned. Lu Ming had only poured a bottle of green liquid down, and the holy tree seed had already revived? Wasn't this too easy? It was so easy that it felt unreal. Look, the holy tree seed has taken root. Suddenly, another loud roar resounded throughout the entire place. At this moment, the sky above this area was filled with elves, all of them staring at the holy tree seed. The holy tree seed had really sprouted. At a speed visible to the naked eye, white and tender roots extended from the seed wall and pierced into the soil. It's taking root. Is it really taking root? Are you sure you didn't see wrongly? Quickly tell me. Some of the elves who couldn't squeeze in and couldn't see shouted, urgently wanting to know the situation of the holy tree seed. It really took root. Ah, not only did it take root, it even sprouted. It sprouted. Heavens, it really sprouted. Many elves cried out. At this moment, a few Divine Lord Realm Elf Clan elders and Ling Yue all widened their eyes as they stared blankly at the holy tree seed. This was because the holy tree seed was really taking root and sprouting. At the beginning, a spore grew. Following that, a few leaves grew out of the spore. The leaves continued to grow, and a root grew out. A small sapling appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The growth speed was too fast. It had only been a few minutes, but the holy tree seed had already grown into a small sapling. The holy tree seed that had grown into a small sapling could no longer be called a holy tree seed. It could already be called the elven holy tree. Of course, this was only the beginning. The elven holy tree sapling was still growing at an astonishing speed. Very quickly, it grew to a meter tall and was as thick as a thumb. However, it was still growing at an astonishing speed. 1 meter tall, 2 meters tall, 3 meters tall, 10 meters tall, 20 meters tall, 50 meters tall, 800 meters tall, 300 meters tall, 800 meters tall. It grew crazily and quickly reached a height of 1,000 meters. However, it did not stop. Between heaven and earth, endless energy continuously surged towards the elven holy tree. Then, it turned into an incomparably dense life essence and was emitted. In the process of absorbing and emitting, the elven holy tree grew crazily. At this moment, there was no longer any sound at the scene. All the elves raised their heads and stared blankly at the elven holy tree growing. They were too shocked, so shocked that they had already become numb. The 1,000-meter-tall elven sacred tree had already surpassed the elven sacred tree cultivated by the elves. However, the elf clan had spent a great deal of effort to cultivate that tree. It had taken them nearly 1,000 years to cultivate it to that level. However, the elven holy tree had surpassed the elven holy tree from before in merely a short period of time. Was this a dream? However, many elves had already tried and confirmed that this was definitely not a dream, but reality. The elven sacred tree was still growing. 1,000 meters, 3,000 meters, 10,000 meters, 50,000 meters. In just 3 days, the elven sacred tree had grown to several million meters tall. Its diameter was even more astonishing. From below, one could not even see the top of the enormous elven sacred tree. It covered the sky and covered a large area. At that moment, the elven holy tree's growth slowed down. Although it was still growing, it was much slower than before. The creation divine water is indeed miraculous. No wonder Senior Fei Huang said that it would definitely be able to successfully nurture the holy tree seed. Lu Ming was also full of praise in his heart. That's right. The treasure that Lu Ming had asked Fei Huang for was the creation divine water. Lu Ming had already expected the elf clan's attitude, so he planned to start with the holy tree seed. If he could successfully cultivate the holy tree seed, the elf clan's impression of him would definitely change. The reason he did this wasn't because he really cared about the elf clan's opinion of him. What he cared about was Ling Yue. Ling Yue was sandwiched between him and the elf clan, making things very difficult for her. He was trying to make things easier for Ling Yue. When he spoke of his thoughts, Fei Huang gave Lu Ming a bottle of creation divine water. She said that she had obtained it from the ruins of the universe and that it was enough to nurture the elven sacred tree. Lu Ming had never thought that the effects of the creation divine water would be so heaven-defying. Not only was the cultivation successful, it had also allowed the elven sacred tree to grow to several million meters tall in one fell swoop. The creation divine water was simply a supreme treasure, yet Fei Huang had given it to him so easily. His gratitude towards Fei Huang increased by another portion. Ah, I've broken through. My cultivation has broken through. My cultivation has also broken through. At this moment, a few exclamations broke the silence. The elven sacred tree was constantly emitting a vast amount of life essence. This life essence was extremely helpful to the elves. In such a short period of time, some elves had actually broken through in their cultivation. The other elves also began to observe their own cultivations. Those elves with lower cultivation bases discovered that their cultivation bases had improved imperceptibly. Of course, there were only a few people who had broken through. Those people were already on the verge of breaking through. With the help of the elven sacred tree, they had stimulated their bloodline and broken through in one fell swoop. However, this effect was already heaven-defying. Holy tree, a holy tree that is millions of meters tall. Our clan finally has a holy tree. The rise of our clan is just around the corner. Many elves were so excited that their bodies were trembling. Some of them even shed tears of excitement. Ling Yue was also so excited that her entire body was trembling. Although the elven sacred tree that was millions of meters tall had yet to mature, it was still close. The effect was already very shocking. This could be seen from the surrounding environment. At this moment, this forest had already undergone an earth-shattering change. There were incomparably huge ancient trees everywhere. The life essence was dense, and all kinds of flowers were blooming. There were even many divine medicines in the mountain forest. Not only that, but the area outside the forest was also densely packed with trees that were growing at a speed visible to the naked eye. This forest was several times larger than before. If this continued, it would not be impossible for this area to once again turn into the elven palace of the past. Lu Ming, thank you. Ling Yue looked at Lu Ming and said seriously, "What are you thanking me for? This is what I should do." Lu Ming smiled. "Oh right. Where did you get that treasure?" Ling Yue asked curiously. "Of course I got it from the universe ruins. Ever since I left the Grand Supreme Immortal City, I've always felt sorry, so I entered the universe ruins to explore. I wanted to find a treasure that could promote the elven sacred tree and give it to you as an apology. I didn't expect that my luck was so good that I actually obtained a bottle of creation divine water." Lu Ming smiled. When he lied, his face did not turn red and his heart did not race. It was as if he was telling the truth. Creation divine water? Lu Ming, in order to obtain the creation divine water, you must have suffered a lot. Ling Yue's eyes were filled with gratitude. "It's just so. It's all worth it," Lu Ming said with a face full of affection. Chapter 45-39. After Ling Yue heard this, she was so moved that she was about to cry. She looked at Lu Ming affectionately and said, "Lu Ming, you treat me so well. In the past, I misunderstood you. I believe that the other members of the elf clan will also resolve the misunderstanding with you. It's fine. Even if the whole world misunderstands me, it doesn't matter. As long as you don't misunderstand me, it's fine." Lu Ming continued. He discovered that his skin was getting thicker and thicker. "It's all Danden's fault. After hanging out with him for so long, I've been infected by him. I was originally a gentleman." Lu Ming comforted himself in his heart. In another area, Danden inexplicably sneezed a few times. Say, "That bastard. Pfft. Which guy is talking bad about me?" Danden rubbed his nose and muttered in displeasure. In the elf clan's area, Ling Yue's heart had completely melted as she affectionately grabbed Lu Ming's hand. At this moment, the people of the elf clan had finally calmed down. When they looked at Lu Ming again, the look in their eyes had changed greatly from before. Although there were still some grudges, they were already much lighter. Some of the people who already had a good impression of Lu Ming even revealed a trace of gratitude in their eyes. The seed of the holy tree was originally incomparably precious, but Lu Ming was able to give it away for free. The most important thing was that bottle of green liquid. Now, even a fool would know that the bottle of green liquid was definitely a supreme treasure. Otherwise, how could the seed of the holy tree sprout and grow to millions of meters tall in such a short period of time? One had to know that in the past, the elf clan had used all their strength and spent 1,000 years to cultivate the elven holy tree to a height of 1,000 meters. That had already consumed countless resources. The price of that bottle of green liquid was simply immeasurable. However, Lu Ming had used it. Most importantly, with the elven holy tree that was millions of meters tall, the talent of the elf clan would become higher and higher, and their cultivation speed would also become stronger and stronger. As long as they were given some time, the elf race would multiply and their population would increase. One day, they would be able to return to their peak and walk on the path of prosperity. Because of Lu Ming, the elf race had been destroyed. Now, he had given them a new lease of life. The mood of the elves was complicated, but no matter what, their view of Lu Ming had changed a lot. Yue, stay here for the time being and help our clansmen rebuild. If you need anything, just send me a message. Lu Ming said. Okay. Ling Yue nodded. The elves had just arrived and needed to be rebuilt. She was indeed needed to preside over the overall situation. After that, Lu Ming returned to the residence of the Lu family and the Taishu dynasty. Lu Ming, there are still 10 years left. Spend these 10 years with your family. After 10 years, I will send you off to cultivate. Lu Ming was flying halfway when a voice suddenly sounded in his ears. It was Fei Huang's voice. You're going to be sent to cultivate in 10 years? Senior, why? Lu Ming's spiritual sense fluctuated as he asked. He knew that Fei Huang could hear him. There's not much time left. The Great War is about to begin. You guys have to increase your strength as soon as possible. Right now, you guys are still too weak. Fei Huang's voice continued to ring out. Lu Ming understood that the you guys that Fei Huang was talking about should include Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, Myriad God, and the others. These were the top geniuses. However, what he didn't understand was, what did it mean that the Great War was about to begin? Was a decisive battle with the Heavenly Palace going to break out? So fast? Therefore, he immediately asked, Senior, could it be that we are going to have a decisive battle with the Heavenly Palace? I'll tell you the specifics in 10 years. In these 10 years, I have to prepare. You should also accompany your family. It won't be so easy in the future. Fei Huang's voice rang out, and then it lowered again. Senior, Senior. Lu Ming called out continuously, but Fei Huang didn't respond. Lu Ming frowned. If even Fei Huang was a little anxious and said that the Great War was about to begin, then the matter must be very serious. The development of the matter was somewhat out of Lu Ming's expectations. Lu Ming originally thought that the decisive battle with the Heavenly Palace wouldn't come so soon. However, according to Fei Huang's words, it might not be too long. Although Fei Huang didn't say it, Lu Ming subconsciously thought that the decisive battle with the Heavenly Palace was about to begin. In the primitive universe, other than the great enemy that was the Heavenly Palace, were there any other enemies? With a lot on his mind, Lu Ming flew over and saw Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, Myriad God, Dandan, Bubbles, and the others. Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, Myriad God, and the others had a heavy expression. After seeing Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing asked, Lu Ming, you also heard Master's voice transmission, right? Xian Yanqing's previous life's Tang Qing was Fei Huang's disciple, so Xian Yanqing also addressed Fei Huang as Master. I heard it, but there are still 10 years. In these 10 years, we don't have to think too much. Let's have a good rest. Lu Ming walked over and held Xian Yanqing and Autumn Moon's hands as he smiled. He had to appear relaxed. Otherwise, it wouldn't be good if everyone had a lot on their minds. The construction of the new residence was extremely fast. In just a few days, huge cities and huge buildings appeared on the land. The people of the Lu family, Hua Qi and his people, Pang Shi and his people, Undying Demon Lord and his people, Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King and his people. These branches, big and small, would all establish a city and settle down. Then, they would begin to cultivate. Everything was on the right track. I don't know how long this peace will last. I don't want to be forced to move again. Lu Ming thought silently. If a war broke out, Heaven Destroyer's base would probably not be safe and might be caught in the flames of war. But it was useless to think too much now. He could only improve his strength as soon as possible. After returning to his residence, Lu Ming began to cultivate. Every cell in his body was like a bottomless pit, constantly devouring the energy of heaven and earth, absorbing and refining it. But after a while, Lu Ming stopped and showed a puzzled look. There's no improvement. It's still the same as before, Lu Ming whispered. He found that no matter how he absorbed and refined the energy of heaven and earth, his forbidden body didn't move and didn't improve at all. He had tried it in the primitive universe before, and it was the same when he came to Heaven Destroyer's base. It's just as the legends say. The primitive universe can only support creatures to cultivate to the first level of the Divine Lord realm. This is the highest level that the primitive universe can accommodate. After reaching the first level of the Divine Lord realm, no matter how much energy you absorb from heaven and earth, you can't improve your cultivation. No wonder all the Divine Lord realm overlords go into the universe ruins. Maybe there's an environment or treasure in the universe ruins that can improve the Divine Lord realm. Senior Fei Huang said that she would send us to cultivate 10 years later. Is it in the universe ruins? Lu Ming whispered. The primitive universe he mentioned was the universe controlled by the Heavenly Palace, not the universe ruins. Chapter 45-40. The conditions in the primitive universe were very limited. Whether it was the divine qi or the various divine medicines, they couldn't support the cultivation of Divine Lord Realm experts. Those Divine Lord Realm experts who wanted to improve and climb up the ladder would choose to explore the ruins of the universe. This was the same whether it was the Heavenly Palace, the races in the universe, or the Heaven Destroyer. Forget it. I'll spend the next 10 years with Dad, Mom, Xiaoqing, and Autumn Moon. Lu Ming got up with a smile. After that, Lu Ming didn't focus on cultivation. At most, he would use the primitive ring as a reference to comprehend the primitive form. The rest of the time, he would spend with his family and friends. He would accompany Lu Yuntian and Li Ping to chat about their daily lives. He would also accompany Xian Yanqing and Qiu Yue to travel around the world. In addition, he would also take time to teach Lu Shenhuang, Lu Qi, and his disciples. Speaking of his disciples, Lu Ming felt ashamed. Ever since he took them in as disciples, he hadn't taken the time to teach them. They were all traveling, adventuring, and cultivating alone. Most of the disciples' cultivation was done by themselves or by seeking guidance from others. Therefore, during this rare free time, Lu Ming often took the time to focus on guiding Lu Xiangxiang, Ouyang Moli, and the rest. The Heaven Destroyer's base was much better than the Taishu dynasty. In addition, Lu Ming had a lot of resources and Lu Ming's personal guidance. The cultivation of his disciples, including Lu Shenhuang and Lu Qi, improved very quickly. Not long after, Lu Qi and Ouyang Moli's cultivation reached the Divine King realm. Xiang Xiang even broke through 2 levels and reached the 8th level of the Divine King realm. Of course, their cultivation didn't stop there. Just like that, 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. 10 years later, Lu Ming received Fei Huang's voice transmission again, asking him to head to the place where Fei Huang lived. At the same time, Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, and the others also received the message. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and the others headed towards Fei Huang's residence. At Fei Huang's residence, Lu Ming discovered that other than Xian Yanqing and Autumn Moon, Ling Yue had also come. There were also Myriad God, Dandan, and Bubbles. In addition to these people, there were also some other people who were some of the top prodigies in Heaven Destroyer, such as Yiling Wush. Not long after Lu Ming and the others arrived, Fei Huang's figure appeared in front of them. This time, I called you here because I want to send you to cultivate. However, each of you will have a different training ground. According to your physique, the cultivation method you practice, the power you control, etc., you will be able to choose the most suitable training ground for you. It will be able to stimulate your potential to the maximum and allow you to improve as quickly as possible. Fei Huang said. As expected, they will go to different venues. Lu Ming whispered. He had guessed this long ago. Otherwise, Fei Huang wouldn't have asked him to spend more time with his family, Xianyinxing, and autumn moon all these years. You must improve your strength as soon as possible. Time waits for no one. I'm afraid it won't be long before the war begins. Fei Huang said. Senior, what do you mean by the war is about to begin? Are we going to have a decisive battle with the Heavenly Palace? The one who asked was not Lu Ming, but a prodigy and heaven destroyer. Almost everyone was curious. This matter was what everyone was concerned about. Fei Huang was silent for a moment, then shook her head and said, It's hard to say. I can't explain it clearly. Everyone was curious. What did Fei Huang's answer mean? To tell you the truth, more than 10 years ago, I received a message from the taboo sword ancestor. He said that he peeked at a corner of the future. In the near future, there will be an unprecedented war. Fei Huang said. What? Everyone was shocked. They all knew who the taboo sword ancestor was. That was Tang Feng, an invincible figure and the leader of Heaven Destroyer. He actually peeked at a corner of the future. There would be a great war in the future. Moreover, they also noticed that Fei Huang used the word unprecedented. An unprecedented war. It could be seen that this war would be incomparably tragic. Everyone's face became solemn. Senior Fei Huang, did the taboo sword ancestor say who our opponent is? It should be the Heavenly Palace, right? Someone asked again. I'm not sure. You have to know that peeking into the future is extremely difficult and full of danger. The past is irreversible, and the future is full of infinite variables. It is also very difficult to peek into the future. Once you do, you will suffer a terrible backlash. Even the space-time spirit mouse, which is known to be able to control time and space, can't peek into the future. Moreover, the higher the cultivation of the target, the more difficult it is to peek into the future. The more creatures involved, the more difficult it is to peek into the future. On the contrary, the future of an ordinary person is easier to peek into. Fei Huang said with a serious face. Everyone understood this point. An ordinary person who did not cultivate only had a short lifespan of 100 years. It was very easy to peek into their future, letting the space-time spirit mouse, who was proficient in space-time, go would be able to peek into their future clearly. However, if the target was a cultivator, it would be much more difficult. The higher the cultivation, the more difficult it would be. And the more creatures involved, the more difficult it would be. For example, peeking into the future of a race would be extremely difficult. Previously, an Origin Realm expert of the Space-Time Spirit Mouse clan used space-time techniques to peek into the future of the Space-Time Spirit Mouse clan. He only managed to peek into a corner of the future before suffering a backlash. He was heavily injured and has yet to recover, Fei Huang said. Everyone was shocked. Everyone's hearts shook. The Origin Venerate of the Space-Time Spirit Mouse clan was a master of time. He had already grasped the essence of time. He had only wanted to pry into the future of the Space-Time Spirit Mouse clan, but he had suffered a heavy injury. One could imagine how dangerous it was to pry into the future. Of course, the Origin Venerables of the Space-Time Spirit Mouse clan also knew that the Heavenly Palace might move against them through that corner of the future. That's why they wanted to cooperate with us in advance. Fei Huang said. Lu Ming came to a realization. He finally understood why the Space-Time Spirit Mouse clan wanted to cooperate with the Heaven Destroyer for a long time. It turned out that they had peeked into a corner of the future. I'm telling you this because I want you to understand that peeking into the future is as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Not to mention, Tang Feng peeked into the future of the entire universe. It's even more difficult. He was also able to peek into a corner of the future through a special opportunity. However, it was very vague. He only knew that there would be an earth-shattering war that would be extremely tragic. Countless people would die in battle. However, he couldn't see clearly who the opponent would be. It's difficult to say. Fei Huang said. Apart from the Heavenly Palace, there are no other opponents. They're probably going to have a decisive battle with the Heavenly Palace. I think the Heavenly Palace is afraid. They're afraid that if they continue to wait, they'll be surpassed by us. That's why they want to strike first. A few people were discussing. Senior, will the demons become our opponents? At this moment, Lu Ming asked. Chapter 45-41. Demons? Hearing Lu Ming's words, Everyone fell silent and pondered. Demons? I don't think so. Demons and the heavenly human race are mortal enemies. They have a common enemy with us. Why would they become our opponents? Someone asked. Lu Ming is right. We have to be careful of demons, Fei Huang said. Fei Huang said, demons are demons after all. They are naturally savage, violent, bloodthirsty, murderous, and evil. We are only cooperating with them to keep the heavenly palace in check. No one can say for sure what will happen in the future when facing demons. Therefore, we have to treat them as potential enemies and guard against them. Everyone nodded seriously. If they really destroyed the heavenly palace, they would have to fight against the demons. Lu Ming frowned and felt a little heavy. For some reason, he felt that things weren't that simple. It wasn't like the Forbidden Sword ancestor and Fei Huang hadn't fought against the heavenly palace before. According to Xian Yanqing, an earth-shattering battle had broken out with the heavenly palace 60 stellar years ago. That battle was incomparably tragic. Countless people died in battle. The number of experts that fell was innumerable. 2 of the heavenly palace were destroyed. 60 stellar years ago, there were still 7 heavenly palace, but now there were only 5 left. However, the Forbidden Sword ancestor, Tang Feng, saw a glimpse of the future and described the future battle as all previous battles. It was obvious that the battle in the future would definitely exceed 60 stellar years ago. The heavenly palace's strength now was obviously not as strong as it was 60 stellar years ago. If they really fought, how could it be unprecedented? Could it be that the demons and the heavenly palace were working together to deal with them? Or did the heavenly human race have an unimaginable expert? They couldn't figure it out. Senior, did the sword ancestor say when the battle will break out? Dandan asked. I'm not sure. It won't be more than a stellar year. The earliest might be 10,000 years later. Fei Huang said. 10,000 years later at the earliest. Everyone was shocked. 10,000 years was simply too short. It was impossible for them to reach the peak. The amount of time left for them was simply too short. Everyone was praying in their hearts, hoping that the war would come later. It would be best if it was close to a stellar year later. With their talent, they would probably reach major accomplishment in a single stellar year. It was extremely likely for some of them to reach reciprocity. However, if it was only 10,000 years, then it was truly too short. That's why I'm sending you all to cultivate. Time is of the essence, so you must raise your strength as soon as possible. Fei Huang said. At this moment, even without Fei Huang's reminder, everyone felt a strong sense of urgency in their hearts. They wished they could quickly increase their strength in order to deal with the earth-shattering battle that was about to erupt in the near future. Xian Yanqing, after this, I will send you to the Boundless Devil Abyss. That place is the place where I cultivated back then, and is the most suitable place for you to cultivate. Over there, you will be able to improve faster. However, it's only suitable for you to go. Fei Huang said. Yes. Xian Yanqing nodded. Then, Fei Huang looked at Wan Shun. Wan Shun, I will send you to the land of the fallen gods. Legend has it that it's the burial ground of the primordial divine spirits. It's also the place where the primordial divine spirits and the celestial race fought. A large number of primordial divine spirits are buried there. Of course, it's also filled with danger. It's best if it's dangerous. I was afraid that it would just be a boring cultivation. Wan Shun chuckled, filled with battle intent. Autumn Moon, you have the sacred heart of 9 orifices. I will send you the Sea of Elemental Heart. Over there, your potential will be maximized. The sacred heart of 9 orifices is no small matter. The potential it contains is something that even I can't estimate. Since the appearance of the primitive universe, including you, there have only been 2 examples. Fei Huang looked at Autumn Moon. Many people also looked at Autumn Moon with envy. Even Fei Huang said that it was impossible to estimate. It was absolutely shocking. Senior Fei Huang, I've already opened all 9 orifices, but my potential hasn't been maximized? Autumn Moon asked curiously. The 9 orifices of the sacred heart of 9 orifices are only at the entry level, Fei Huang said. After a while, she said, someone once found an ancient book in the ruins of the universe. There were a few words in it that mentioned the sacred heart of 9 orifices. It seemed to be some kind of heaven-defying constitution from the last era and has endless potential. Everyone was shocked. Even Lu Ming looked at Autumn Moon curiously. The Sacred Heart of 9 Orifices was actually some kind of heaven-defying constitution from the last era. This was beyond Lu Ming's expectation. Since the birth of the primitive universe, there had only been 2 examples, including Autumn Moon. The ratio was even more pitiful. Autumn Moon was also surprised. She did not expect the Sacred Heart of 9 Orifices to have untapped potential. Bubbles, I'll take you to the Sea of Time and Space. It's the most suitable place for you to cultivate. World Turtle Dandan, I'll send you to the Myriad Transformation Ruins. That should be the ruins left behind by a powerful formation from the last era. The remnant formations left behind are incomparably exquisite, enough for you to comprehend. Elf Princess Ling Yue, I'll send you to the 10,000 Spirits Palace. It's the most suitable place for you to cultivate your elf bloodline. Next, Fei Huang made arrangements one by one. Every genius had a specific arrangement and a place that was most suitable for them to cultivate. It could be seen that Fei Huang had spent a lot of effort during this period of time. Relatively speaking, these places are relatively safe. However, these places are all within the ruins of the universe. No one can guarantee 100% safety in the ruins of the universe. There could be danger at any time. Therefore, you must be careful when you cultivate. Take this jade talisman. If you encounter danger that you can't resist or feel that you've cultivated enough and want to leave, crush this jade talisman. I'll know, Fei Huang said. As she spoke, figures continuously walked out from her body. They were all Fei Huang's soul incarnations. A soul incarnation walked to Xian Yinqing's side. With a wave of its hand, it brought Xian Yinqing into the sky and disappeared. A soul incarnation came to Autumn Moon's side and brought Autumn Moon away. Every soul incarnation would take away a person. Very soon, there was only one person left at the scene, and that was Lu Ming. He stood there alone. Of course, there was also Fei Huang. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. After a while, he asked, that, Senior Fei Huang, where should I go to cultivate? Everyone had a place to go. He was the only one who hadn't been arranged. I don't know where to send you to cultivate, Fei Huang said helplessly. There's no suitable place for me to go? Lu Ming asked speechlessly. Indeed, there's no place that's particularly suitable for you to cultivate. The taboo body is rather special. It's very difficult to break through just by cultivating in seclusion. You have to face danger in actual combat in order to continuously break through and improve. Fei Huang said. Peak. Chapter 45-42. So, I can only go out and travel by myself? Lu Ming said. That's right. Moreover, with your current cultivation, you can enter the universe ruins for adventure. I can recommend you a few places. Fei Huang said. Senior, please tell me. Lu Ming said. Before that, you need to have a general understanding of the universe ruins. Also, you need to know what opportunities there are in the universe ruins. Fei Huang said. Senior, please enlighten me. Lu Ming looked like he was asking for advice. The opportunities in the universe ruins are mainly divided into 6 categories. The first is weapons. The universe ruins are left behind from the War of the Last Era. Too many years have passed. Not many things can survive such a long time without rotting. Those weapons that are not high enough, such as those on par with master-grade divine weapons, will rot after such a long time. Only source-grade divine weapons can be preserved. On the path of cultivation, no matter what kind of power one cultivates, whether it is the forbidden power, the power of the heavens, the power of gods, or the chi refinement arts of the last epoch, they are all connected in the end. They all return to the origin. Therefore, there were also source-grade divine weapons in the last era. Maybe they weren't called that in the last era, but they are similar to the current source-grade divine weapons. They all contain origin. In fact, the source-grade divine weapons used by many Origin Realm experts in the universe are mostly obtained from the universe ruins. They are refined later on, so there are relatively few of them. Fei Huang explained in detail. Hearing Fei Huang's explanation about source-grade divine weapons, Lu Ming understood a principle. No matter what kind of power you cultivate, you have to reach the origin realm in the end. However, there are more broken source-grade divine weapons in the universe ruins, and they are easier to obtain. Complete source-grade divine weapons are extremely rare. Of course, broken source-grade divine weapons are also very precious. The materials they contain can be used to forge source-grade divine weapons. Once you come across one, you can't miss it. Fei Huang said. Lu Ming naturally nodded. Of course, he wouldn't miss out on a broken source-grade divine weapon. He had the big eater little ball with him. Even if he didn't extract the materials inside, he could still feed it to little ball. Next is the second type of opportunity, which is the most widely distributed in the universe ruins and the easiest to obtain. It is the various precious ores, metals, and other refining materials. In the last era, the great desolate continent was shattered into countless fragments, forming countless small continents in the ruins of the universe. And those precious refining materials are hidden in these continents. These refining materials won't decay. Any continent in the universe ruins might have them. You also know that the current Great Desolate Universe's level is too low. After cultivating to the first level of the Divine Lord realm, it will be very difficult to advance any further. By the same logic, the crafting materials in the primitive universe are not of high quality. Crafting materials that can be used to craft master-level magic weapons are extremely rare, and materials that can be used to craft source-grade magic weapons are even rarer. They are almost non-existent. In the universe ruins, there are many high-quality crafting materials. Now, most of the master-level magic weapons in the primitive universe are made of materials from the universe ruins. The same goes for source-grade magic weapons. Of course, there are even higher quality crafting materials in the universe ruins. Once you come across those materials, you must not miss them. When Fei Huang spoke up to this point, she did not stop. She continued, the third type of opportunity is the various ancient records. The universe ruins were left behind by the last era. After such a long time, ordinary ancient books naturally can't be preserved. However, there are some ancient books that are refined with special methods, or made with special materials, or hidden in special places. They are protected by immortal power and can be preserved. According to these ancient books, you can find out about the last era and understand some things about it. In fact, some of our understanding of the last era comes from these ancient books. Of course, there is also the possibility of obtaining the cultivation methods left behind by the last era, which is the Qi cultivation art. Some Qi cultivation arts are extremely mysterious and take the fortune of heaven and earth. For example, the 3 corpses art that I passed on to you is a Qi cultivation art that I obtained in the universe ruins. The 3 corpses art is actually a Qi cultivation art from the last era. Hearing Fei Huang's explanation, Lu Ming's heart trembled violently. Next is the fourth type of opportunity, which is some heavenly treasures, such as the creation divine water that I gave you before. However, this type of treasure is very rare, mainly because the universe ruins have experienced a fierce war. The rules and profound meanings are extremely chaotic, so it is very difficult to breed heavenly treasures that contain life essence. It is purely dependent on luck. The fifth type of opportunity is the most important goal of all divine master realm experts when they enter the universe ruins. It is the primitive gem. Primitive gem? Lu Ming asked in confusion. There is primitive qi in the Taishang Immortal City, which is completely different from the divine qi of the primitive universe. It is of a higher level than divine qi. It is the qi of heaven and earth contained in the primitive continent of the last era, which can quickly increase one's cultivation. Now, there are very few places in the universe ruins that have primitive qi. However, when the primitive qi is rich to a certain extent, it will form primitive gems, which are buried underground like spirit stones and divine crystals. These Great Desolation crystals were formed during the Great Desolation continent back then. They are buried within the fragments of the continent. The energy contained within the Great Desolation crystals is not something that the Great Desolation pills in the Supreme Immortal City can compare to. They are much denser than the Great Desolation pills. The main goal of the Divine Masters of the primitive universe when they enter the universe ruins is the primitive gems. Only with the primitive gems can they continuously increase their cultivation. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for the divine masters to increase their cultivation. Moreover, the primitive gems will be more useful to you. You already have the origin seed and the direction is clear. You don't have to waste your energy to find the direction. As long as you continue to refine the primitive gems, you will be able to increase your cultivation. Therefore, your main goal when you enter the universe ruins is the primitive gems. Fei Huang said. It turns out that the divine masters rely on the primitive gems to increase their cultivation. Lu Ming finally understood. It was no wonder that all the almighty masters had to venture into the universe wasteland to explore. It was to search for the primordial gems. Of course, if someone constantly provided you with primitive gems, you would be able to increase your cultivation in the primitive universe. This is the fifth type of opportunity. Finally, there is the sixth type of opportunity, which is also the most important opportunity. The opportunity that makes people go crazy is the treasure that contains the origin mark. Fei Huang said, treasure that contains the origin mark? What is that? Is it related to the origin realm? Lu Ming asked curiously. Chapter 45-43. You've guessed correctly. Treasures with origin imprints are indeed related to the origin realm. If origin realm existences want to increase their cultivation, they have to rely on their own talent to comprehend origin energy, but that's far too slow. If you have treasures with origin imprints, you can directly absorb the origin imprint within the treasure and directly increase the cultivation of origin realm existences, said Fei Huang. Fei Huang was shocked. Lu Ming was shocked. A treasure that could help reciprocity realm cultivators increase their cultivation was definitely extremely precious. Reciprocity realm experts would fight over it. It was no wonder that Fei Huang had said that this was the most important fortuitous encounter out of the 6 types of fortuitous encounters. The foundation of cultivators was their cultivation. An increase in cultivation was the greatest benefit. Any treasure that could increase cultivation was extremely valuable, let alone treasures that could increase the cultivation of origin realm experts. If he obtained one and sold it to a origin realm expert, he would be able to sell it for an astronomical price. As a result, you can keep it if you obtain it. Once you reach origin realm in the future, it'll be of great use. However, treasures with origin imprints are extremely rare, or it wouldn't be so difficult for origin realm existences in the universe to increase their cultivation. Fei Huang said. Lu Ming nodded. He understood this very well. The more valuable a treasure was, the more difficult it was to obtain and the rarer it was. Alright, that's all for the 6 types of fortuitous encounters in the ruins of the universe. I'll tell you about some of the dangers you'll encounter in the ruins of the universe. The ruins of the universe were formed from the destruction of the primeval continent in the last epoch. It can be described as an ancient battlefield. The laws and mysteries in the ruins of the universe are extremely chaotic, so it's very difficult to nurture large amounts of life. There aren't any powerful races. However, there are exceptions to everything. What exists in the ruins of the universe the most are various types of insects. These insects are tenacious, and some of them have even inherited the bloodlines of the last epoch. Under the chaotic laws and mysteries, they can constantly reproduce. As a result, you have to be careful of various insects in the ruins of the universe. Some extremely desolate continents might be inhabited by some terrifying insects. Some insects are extremely terrifying. There was once an origin realm expert who was bitten to death by a mosquito, said Fei Huang. Fei Huang explained. Lu Ming became dumbfounded. An origin realm expert had been bitten to death by a mosquito in the ruins of the universe? What kind of mosquito was that? Why was it so terrifying? First of all, you have to be careful of the various insects. Also, the ruins of the universe are the battlefield of the last aeon. Countless experts have died there. So many evil things will appear. As a result, it's best if you don't go to places that you find evil or strange. Those places are often extremely dangerous. There have been many reciprocity experts who have died there. Of course, the most important thing is to be careful of the cultivators from the heavenly palace. They are the greatest danger. Lu Ming nodded as Fei Huang spoke. However, in the recent dozens of stellar years, there have been great changes in the universe ruins. The chaotic laws and Upanishads have slowly become orderly. Therefore, some of the continent fragments have given birth to some creatures and races that know how to cultivate. However, it hasn't been long, and these races haven't developed yet. They don't have many experts, so they aren't a threat. Of course, there's a lot more information about the universe ruins. I have a jade slip here with more information about the universe ruins. Take a look. With that, a jade slip appeared in Fei Huang's hand. She passed it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming accepted it and sent his consciousness into it. Very soon, he memorized the contents of the jade slip. Many of the information about the universe ruins surprised Lu Ming. He felt like he had been a frog in a well before. This time, he had broadened his horizons. All right, I've told you the basics. Now, it's up to you to choose where you want to explore. I have a few regions here. You can choose for yourself. A jade slip appeared in Fei Huang's hand. The jade slip glowed and a huge image appeared in the air. This is a map of the universe ruins. Of course, it's not complete. It's only a portion. The universe ruins are extremely vast. Over the countless years, the heavenly palace, the various races of the universe, and our heaven destroyer have only explored a third of the universe ruins. The remaining two-thirds are unknown. The regions that light up belong to regions that have already been explored. Fei Huang introduced. Lu Ming was extremely shocked. How many years had passed since then? After so many years, the experts of the heavenly palace, the various races of the universe, and the heaven destroyer had only explored a third of the universe ruins. The remaining two-thirds were still unknown. This was just too shocking. This meant that the universe ruins were extremely vast. Another reason was that the universe ruins were extremely dangerous. Otherwise, with the lifespan of the origin realm that existed with the universe, they could explore the entire universe ruins no matter how large they were. The main reason was that it was too dangerous. When exploring, they had to be careful and cautious. Naturally, their speed was very slow. We've also divided the ruins of the universe into small regions. These regions are very far apart from each other, and there's a long void between them. This is similar to the star regions in the primitive universe. Between different star regions, there's a long dark void. Of course, the area of each small region is much larger than the star regions of the primitive universe. Fei Huang explained. Lu Ming took a closer look. True enough, he saw that the map was divided into small and different regions. Between each region, there was a relatively long space of nothingness that separated them. Each region is different in size, characteristics, and species. Of course, the danger is also different. The closer it is to the depths of the universe ruins, the more dangerous it is. The few regions I've recommended to you are all relatively close to the periphery of the universe ruins. It's suitable for you to adventure with your current cultivation. Look, this region has some poisonous insects, but it's also rich in refining materials. Many people from the heavenly human race, the various races of the universe, and the heaven destroyer are exploring there. It'll be of some help to you. What do you think? Fei Huang pointed at a region that was relatively close to the periphery. Lu Ming looked at it and shook his head in the end. Fei Huang introduced again. This region is called the Six Snakes region. There's almost no exploration. Then, Fei Huang introduced 3 to 5 regions in a row, all of which were suitable for Lu Ming to explore at the moment. This region is called the Heavenly Star region. It's an area that has just been developed. It's basically occupied by the people of the Heavenly Palace. Only a few people from the Heaven Destroyer are active there. Fei Huang continued. When she introduced the Heavenly Star region, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Okay, I choose to go to the Heavenly Star region. Lu Ming said, You want to go to the Heavenly Star region? Most of the people who are active there are from the heavenly human race. Once you're in danger, you won't be able to find help. Fei Huang said, Only without help can my greatest potential be stimulated. Also, I can kill to my heart's content because they're from the heavenly human race. A ray of cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. Chapter 45-44. There was another reason why Lu Ming chose the Heavenly Star region. The Heavenly Star region was newly developed, and had not been explored much. This also meant that there were more opportunities. If an area had been discovered long ago, it would have been explored thousands of times. What opportunities would there be? Especially the desolate crystals. Lu Ming's main goal for this trip was to obtain the primordial crystal. This could increase his cultivation level rapidly. Although the treasures that contained the origin mark were precious, if one's cultivation had not reached the origin realm and could not absorb them, they could only stare at them helplessly. At present, the desolate crystals were the most practical for Lu Ming. Well, since you have made your choice, let's go. Your cultivation is different. You need to go through life and death situations to continuously improve. Therefore, my soul clone will not help you. If you encounter any danger, you have to deal with it yourself. Do you understand? Fei Huang said with a solemn expression. Understood. Lu Ming nodded. Well, take this map with you. Also, take this formation disc for metal materials with you. Then, you can set off. Fei Huang said. Thank you, Senior. Lu Ming took the map and formation disc and left without saying anything else. Before coming here, he had already said goodbye to his parents, disciples, and friends, so there was no need to say goodbye. After leaving Fei Huang's residence, Lu Ming directly flew towards the depths of the universe ruins. The universe ruins. Looking at the dark and lonely universe ruins, Lu Ming's eyes were filled with anticipation. This was the first time he was going to explore the ruins of the universe. He couldn't help but look forward to it. What would be waiting for him? Compared to the Heaven Destroyer Station, the Heavenly Star region was naturally deeper in the universe ruins. There were several other regions in between. It was very far to go to the Heavenly Star region. Moreover, Lu Ming planned to cross the other regions. He planned to move forward through the void between the regions. Relatively speaking, the void did not have any fragments of the desolate continent. It would not give birth to any evil existences, nor would there be any insects. It was safer. The experts of the desolate universe usually went through the void between regions when they wanted to go to a certain region. This was because they did not have to worry about being attacked by other creatures in the void. They could increase their speed to the extreme. There were no wormholes in the universe ruins. This was because the laws here were chaotic. Even if the laws of the universe ruins seemed to have stabilized a lot in the past few decades, it was still extremely difficult to open a wormhole. Even experts of the space-time spirit mouse would find it difficult to open a wormhole across regions in the universe ruins. Therefore, one could only rely on himself to travel in the universe ruins. Given Lu Ming's speed, it took him a total of 7 days to reach the stellar sky area. Without hesitation, Lu Ming dashed into the territory of the Tianqing region. Once he entered the Heavenly Star area, he could see a continent floating in the air every time he flew a certain distance. These continents were all fragments of the desolate continent. Some were big, and some were small. The small ones were only a few thousand kilometers. The big ones were boundless. There were also many larger-than-life planets. The scenery of the universe ruins is really different from the desolate universe. Lu Ming looked around as he flew. There were no planets in the universe ruins. There were only fragments of continents. The light source here was not a star, but a river. Yes, a river filled with flames, traversing the void. Some rivers stretched endlessly, comparable to a galaxy in the desolate universe. From afar, it really looked like a river flowing in the void. It was very spectacular, but once he got close, he would feel an astonishing temperature, 1,000 times more terrifying than a star. The light source of the universe ruins relied on this flame river. He did not know how this flame river was formed. The continent ahead is not bad. Let's go take a look. Lu Ming's eyes moved and saw a huge continent floating in front of him. The size of this continent was comparable to a life planet. Lu Ming flew over and retracted his aura. He stood in the sky above the continent and observed to see if there was any danger. It's dead silent. There are no living creatures or plants. There shouldn't be any danger. Lu Ming whispered and then landed on the continent. This continent was dead silent. As far as the eye could see, it was a kind of pitch-black stone. It's easier said than done to check if there are any precious metal mines on this vast and boundless continent. Lu Ming took out the array disc that Fei Huang gave him and sighed in his heart. The array disc that Fei Huang gave him was called the gold-seeking array disc. It could detect if there were any precious metal mines within a certain range. The gold-seeking array disc was almost a necessary treasure to find the universe ruins. When coming to an unfamiliar continent, it could be used to find precious metal mines. However, the range of the gold-seeking array disc was very limited. Fei Huang's gold-seeking array disc was considered top-notch, but it could only detect an area with a radius of 10,000 miles. It was difficult to detect anything beyond 10,000 miles. How long would it take to detect such a large continent? Lu Ming shook his head. He didn't come here to mine, so he naturally wouldn't spend so much time to detect if there were any metal mines. If he spent a few months to detect if there were no precious metal mines at all, wouldn't it be a big loss? Lu Ming, leave the matter of detecting metal mines to me. Why do you need to use an array disc? At this moment, Qiuqiu said, Kayakyu, how long will it take you to finish detecting such a large continent? Lu Ming asked. 1 hour is enough. Qiuqiu said proudly. 1 hour. Good. Lu Ming couldn't help but be overjoyed. If he could find some metal materials that could be used to forge master-grade or even origin-grade divine weapons, it would be a great harvest. After all, in the primitive universe, regardless of whether it was a main-level magic weapon or a source-level magic weapon, they were all rare goods. Moreover, Lu Ming knew that there was a blacksmith master in the heaven-exterminating troop who could refine source-level divine weapons. He was at the origin realm. Although the success rate was very low, as long as there were enough refining materials, it would eventually succeed. Moreover, since the World Turtle Clan joined, the success rate of forging origin-grade divine weapons had greatly increased. The World Turtle Clan was proficient in rune formations, and rune formations were the foundation of forging weapons. Therefore, there were many experts in forging weapons in the World Turtle Clan. According to Dandan, one of the ancestors of the Turtle Clan in this world could also refine source-level divine weapons. In this way, in the Heaven Destroyer, there were 2 master refiners who could forge origin-grade divine weapons. As long as there were enough materials, they could still succeed. As for master-grade divine weapons, the success rate was even higher. Chapter 45-45. Whether it was a main-grade divine weapon or an origin-grade divine weapon, the more the better. Even if Lu Ming couldn't use it himself, he could sell it to the other experts of the Heaven Destroyer. After all, in the future, an origin-grade divine weapon could greatly increase the battle prowess of an origin realm expert. Moreover, Lu Ming urgently wanted to obtain some armor-type origin-grade divine weapons. Ever since he saw Yi Chu Tianji's origin-grade divine weapon armor, Lu Ming couldn't forget about it. Its defensive power was too strong. If he could wear this kind of armor, his life-saving ability in the future battle would definitely increase by a lot. He couldn't wait for his family and friends to wear this kind of armor. Speaking of Yi Chu Tianji's origin-grade divine weapon armor, Lu Ming had previously asked the master refiner of the World Turtle Clan if it could be repaired. The answer he gave was that it could be repaired, but it lacked 2 precious metal materials. The materials that could repair the origin-grade divine weapon armor were naturally incomparably precious. They could only be found in the ruins of the universe. This time, Lu Ming also wanted to try his luck on this trip to the ruins of the universe. He wanted to see if he could find the metal materials to repair the origin-grade divine weapon armor. Lu Ming, wait for me. After saying that, Qiuqiu flew out of Lu Ming's hand and flew into the distance. Qiuqiu, once you encounter other creatures, return immediately, Lu Ming informed. Don't worry. Qiuqiu's figure disappeared after saying that. Lu Ming waited on the spot. In less than half an hour, Qiuqiu returned. Lu Ming, I found a place with a metal mine underground. Qiuqiu said. There really is. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Immediately, Lu Ming followed Qiuqiu to a mountain peak. Although it was called a mountain peak, it was actually a protruding rock with no plants on it. I can sense that there is a metal mine under this mountain peak. Lu Ming, wait for me. I'll go down and take a look. With that said, Qiuqiu plunged into the mountain peak. The rock was like tofu as Qiuqiu dug out a huge hole. About 10 minutes later, Qiuqiu flew out of the hole again. His body turned into a big round ball. He opened his mouth and a lump of metal flew out from his mouth. With a rumbling sound, the lump of metal smashed into the ground. It was as tall as a person and was incomparably heavy, causing the ground to rumble and explode. "This is violet mist gold." Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Lu Ming hadn't spent the past 10 years in the Heaven Destroyer for nothing. He had read many ancient books and learned about some high-grade metal materials. Flowing violet mist gold was an extremely high-grade metal material that could be used to forge main-grade divine weapons. Materials that could be used to forge master-level divine weapons were already very precious. Qiuqiu had actually created such a huge mess in such a short time. "Lu Ming, there is indeed a small vein of this kind of metal below. I just ate a lot of it. These were all purified by me," Qiuqiu said to Qiuqiu. Lu Ming nodded. He naturally understood that Qiuqiu had purified them. Otherwise, how could metal ores be so pure? They definitely contained many impurities. "Qiuqiu, why didn't you eat them?" Lu Ming asked curiously. Given Qiuqiu's nature, would he obediently spit out such high-grade metal materials instead of eating them? "There are too many impurities in my body. I need time to slowly digest them. I can't eat any other metal materials," Qiuqiu said with a bitter expression. "Too many impurities. Is it because of the damaged source-level divine weapons you ate earlier?" Lu Ming asked. Qiuqiu had eaten so many damaged source-level divine weapons and damaged main-grade divine weapons, but his cultivation was still at the 9th level of the God Emperor realm. It wasn't normal that he hadn't broken through to the God Lord realm. According to Lu Ming's deduction, Qiuqiu should have broken through to the God Lord realm long ago, or even surpassed Lu Ming's cultivation. Yes, not only damaged source-level divine weapons, but also damaged main-grade divine weapons. Eating too many of them will leave behind impurities. It was nothing before, but when I reached the 9th level of the God Emperor realm, there were too many impurities, so I couldn't evolve, Qiuqiu said with a bitter expression. "Then how can you get rid of the impurities?" Lu Ming asked. "There are two ways to get rid of the impurities. One is to slowly remove them by myself, but this method takes a very long time. I estimate that it will take at least tens of thousands of years. The other is to find a precious metal material called ice fire star silver," Qiuqiu said. Ice fire star silver is an essential material for forging source-level divine weapons? Lu Ming asked. "Yes, that's the ice fire star silver." Qiuqiu nodded. Lu Ming furrowed his brows. Ice fire star silver wasn't easy to find. It was extremely precious. Because the current weapon forging masters in the primitive universe had to use ice fire star silver to forge source-level divine weapons. The ice fire star silver had an extremely special effect, which was that it could harmonize all sorts of different refining materials, allowing these different refining materials to blend together perfectly. This would greatly increase the success rate of forging source-level divine weapons. For example, if the weapon forging master in the Heaven Destroyer added ice fire star silver when he was forging source-level divine weapons, the success rate of forging source-level divine weapons would be about 20%. Without ice fire star silver, the success rate of forging source-level divine weapons would be less than 5%. Yes, even the top weapon forging masters in the universe had such a low success rate of forging source-level divine weapons. Originally, it was already extremely difficult to gather the materials needed to forge a source-grade weapon. Now that he had finally gathered all of them, there was a chance that he would fail if he tried to forge one. It would turn the precious materials into waste. But this was something that couldn't be helped. It was too difficult to find an intact source-level divine weapon in the ruins of the universe. Therefore, source-level divine weapons were so rare in the universe. Only those with great luck could obtain them. Even some Origin Realm experts didn't have source-level divine weapons. This showed how precious Ice Fire Star Silver was. After all, adding Ice Fire Star Silver in the process of forging source-level divine weapons could increase the success rate by more than 15%. And Qiuqiu needed Ice Fire Star Silver to quickly refine the impurities in its body. "How much do you need?" Lu Ming asked. "About 5 kilograms. Qiuqiu's fairway. Hiss. Lu Ming gasped a breath of cold air. 5 kilograms was too much. For other precious metals, a fingernail-sized piece would weigh hundreds of thousands or even millions of kilograms. But Ice-Fire Star Silver was different. It was extremely light. A fist-sized piece of Ice-Fire Star Silver weighed about 1 gram. And according to Lu Ming's knowledge, one only needed to add 1 kilogram of Ice-Fire Star Silver to forge a source-level divine weapon. 5 kilograms of Ice-Fire Star Silver was enough to forge 10 source-level divine weapons. Qiuqiu also knew how rare Ice-Fire Star Silver was. It could only say with a sad face, "Looks like I can only slowly polish it and spend tens of thousands of years to refine it. After tens of thousands of years, I don't know how many streets my cultivation will be left behind by you." End of chapter. Chapter 45-46. Don't worry. Take your time. Lu Ming patted Qiuqiu's chubby head and comforted it. Ow. Qiuqiu continued to wear a bitter face. Qiuqiu, go and continue mining. I'll store these metals for you to eat when you break through to the Divine Master Realm. Lu Ming encouraged Qiuqiu. Of course, he wouldn't let Qiuqiu store them. He would take them out to refine weapons when he returned. Of course, Qiuqiu needed encouragement. Okay. Sure enough, Qiuqiu was energized. It drilled into the ground and dug with all its might. Lu Ming followed the tunnel dug by Qiuqiu and went inside to take a look. The ground was indeed filled with sparkling purple flowing violet gold ore. Qiuqiu's body became huge. It opened its mouth and swallowed a large amount of, or into its stomach. After a while, it spat out all the impurities. What was left in its mouth was pure flowing violet gold. It's really comfortable to bring Qiuqiu to the universe ruins. Even if the other gains are small, the metal materials will definitely be a big harvest. Lu Ming smiled. What a pity. If Qiuqiu had reached the Divine Master Realm, its ability to mine and purify metals would have been greatly improved. Lu Ming sighed inwardly. Qiuqiu continued to mine and purify the ores with all its might. Because Lu Ming would store them for it, it would belong to it in the future, so it naturally worked hard. Lu Ming returned to the ground, sat cross-legged, and began to cultivate. Although he couldn't increase his cultivation now, he could comprehend the primitive style. In addition, he could also comprehend the battle character manual. Half a month passed in Lu Ming's cultivation process. In this half a month, Qiuqiu had completely emptied the small underground mine and purified more than 100 million gene of flowing violet gold. More than 100 million gene of flowing violet gold was enough to refine 10 main-grade divine weapons. Of course, a main-grade divine weapon couldn't use only one material. It needed to be matched with other precious materials. But this was still a big harvest. After emptying the mine, Qiuqiu explored the entire continent but didn't find anything else. Then, the two of them left the continent and continued to travel. Lu Ming didn't have a goal. As long as he saw a continent that he felt was all right, he would go and take a look. If he wanted to gain something, he would have to rely on luck and opportunity. It was said that the cultivators of the previous epoch liked to open up cultivation caves in various famous mountains and great rivers. In the great desolate continent of the previous era, there were countless cave dwellings of experts. Later on, they were shattered. Some of the cave dwellings might have been preserved and were scattered among the various fragments of the continent. If he found a cave left behind by an expert from the previous era on a fragment of a continent, he might make a shocking discovery. There were many such examples in history. Hence, the ruins of the universe were like an endless treasure trove, waiting to be excavated. It also attracted countless experts to enter. However, Lu Ming's luck seemed to have run out. Over the next few months, he and Qiuqiu explored several dozen continents, but did not make any major discoveries. There were a few continents that contained metal or veins. However, the metal was of a lower grade and could only be used to forge Godly Emperor or Godly Emperor level weapons. Lu Ming naturally didn't care about such metals. He also didn't bother to spend time for Qiuqiu to excavate them. It wasn't until 3 months later that Lu Ming and Qiuqiu discovered a precious metal on another continent. It was a metal that could be used to forge master-level weapons. Qiuqiu spent more than 10 days excavating all the metals here. In these few months, Lu Ming didn't encounter any danger, nor did he encounter any living creatures. Naturally, he didn't encounter anyone from the Heavenly Palace either. The ruins of the universe are really desolate, Lu Ming muttered in his heart. However, he thought of another problem that shocked him. That was the Great War of the previous era. The Great War of the previous era had actually shattered the vast, great, desolate continent. This was simply unbelievable. As his understanding of the ruins of the universe deepened, Lu Ming felt more and more terrified. The ruins of the universe were too big. There were countless fragments of continents. How big would these fragments be when gathered together? How grand would it be? What kind of existence and what kind of battle power could destroy such a grand continent? In any case, it was impossible for an Origin Realm existence to do so. Other things aside, an Origin Realm existence couldn't even destroy a planet like the Dragon Clan's mother planet, let alone the great desolate continent of the previous era. Moreover, after the destruction, the laws and mysteries of the universe had been thrown into chaos for countless years. It had only slowly recovered in the recent few dozen stellar years. The influence of a great war that lasted for such a long time could be described as astonishing. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that the previous era was like a bottomless pit. It was unfathomable, like a cloud of fog that was difficult to see through. He shook his head and tossed these complicated thoughts out of his mind. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. This was because he saw a continent ahead to his right. It was extremely huge, much bigger than any continent he had encountered before. Moreover, this continent actually had plants. It was a kind of pitch-black plant. Even its leaves were pitch-black. Lu Ming flew over quickly and examined it from afar. Indeed, many places on this continent were covered in pitch-black plants. This continent can actually give birth to plants. It must be very rich in resources. I wonder if there are desolate crystals here? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Desolate crystals contained powerful energy. At the same time, they would radiate and nourish everything. There were many plants here. Perhaps they really did contain desolate crystals. However, plants might also give birth to some terrifying insects. Lu Ming was a little more careful. He concealed his aura and arrived above a forest. He released his spiritual sense and enveloped the forest, carefully observing it. There are no living creatures here. After a while, Lu Ming whispered. This forest only had plants. There were no living creatures. However, Lu Ming did not let down his guard. After all, this was the ruins of the universe. Any place could be filled with danger. In history, who knew how many experts had died in the ruins of the universe? Lu Ming obviously would not let down his guard. He continued to investigate with his spiritual sense as he flew. However, Lu Ming still did not find any living creatures after investigating a large area. Only then did Lu Ming let down his guard slightly. Perhaps this continent only gave birth to plants and did not give birth to other living creatures. Qiuqiu, go down and check if there are any metal ores. Also, look for desolate crystals. I'll go and see if there are any desolate crystals. Lu Ming said. Okay, leave it to me. After saying that, Qiuqiu flew out and searched along the ground. Lu Ming, on the other hand, flew in another direction. He could only rely on his senses to find desolate crystals. Where there were desolate crystals, the energy of heaven and earth would definitely be abnormal. It was not difficult to sense it. Lu Ming sensed as he flew. Unfortunately, after flying over half of the continent, he did not find anything abnormal. However, at this time, Qiuqiu sent a message that he had found something. End of chapter. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.